Hello, good evening. Welcome. Good evening. Welcome. My name is Obindako. Welcome. I want to share with you what I call before you are 30, invest heavily in yourself. Before you are 30, invest heavily in yourself. My interest largely in this life is in people who are coming from the background where they happen to be the first graduate from their families. They happen to come from, average families, but they're ambitious. They want to do something with their lives. And there is little advice that they happen to have from their immediate families. And then if you go to school, if you go to university, if you go to the polytechnic, if you go to training college, there is little advice that you get to have from, outside the school environment. And so most of us just happen to make a lot of these life decisions based on the kind of environment that we grew up in. The school does not so much change uh, how we make decisions so much, because unless you had an uncle who had special interest in your career choices, or maybe you had some friend somewhere whose father uh, had a special interest in yourself, you will grapple with life a little. You will go through life not being so clear. And most of the people that we know on our continent, majority of us, we only study. The only book that we ever read is the one that we happen to be told to read in school. Most people don't open any book at all in their lives. And so they happen to just live the normal life that is coming from the kind of information that we get from our environment. My topic is before you are 30, invest heavily in yourself. And if I say invest in yourself, I'm not talking about investment. It means that things that will stay with you for the rest of your life. The best place to invest on this earth is in yourself. If you put anything in yourself, nobody takes it from you. If the thieves come to your house, they can take everything from your house, but they can take the knowledge that you put in yourself. The knowledge that you put in yourself. The difference between you and your classmates after 20 years of finishing school will not be the one who was first in class, and will not be the one who was last in class. It will be the one who purposefully invested in themselves. To be those people who studied beyond the classroom, who built philosophies beyond the classroom. And so if I remember when we were in school, there was a time that I used to do internships. So I was doing engineering, agricultural engineering. So um, the breaks in between, maybe 1 month, 2 months, I will go to. I remember the first one I did. I went to a machine shop, where they have the lathe machine, the grinding machine, things like that. And anytime that I will move from the house to go for the internship, I felt a bit sad and a bit disappointed, because the kind of engineers that I saw, I didn't want to be like that. I always kept asking myself, so is this the kind of life that I'm going to live after school? I was not inspired. I saw them at the workshop, and they had finished the course that I had finished. They were engineers. Some of them had gone to other countries, Russia and Cuba and those kind of countries, and they had come back. They were experts, but I was not inspired with the kind of life that they were living. Maybe I was wrong, but I was not inspired. And so all along when we were in school, I was reading a lot of books beyond the engineering. I will pick book on finance. I will pick book on business. I will pick book on leadership. Those were the areas that my interest lied. Majority of our people were just studying exam papers, because they were focusing on getting all the A's all the B's, you know, the first class and things like that. The content of our education itself, even if you get all the A, it will not give you 5% of what you need to succeed in this life, especially with regard to your dream. With regard to your dream. And so, if you don't make the decision to invest in yourself, and I'll share with you some of the areas that you may have to focus on investing, especially if you're around 30. Because most of us will finish secondary school. I remember our time we finished secondary school maybe around 17, 16 years, you know, and then you happen to get to the university. So we had to stay at home for about 2 years because there was a problem. And then we started going to the university around 19, 20. So most of us finished around 24. 24 is still under 30. But now people are finishing the university around 20. There's a lot that you have to put in yourself before you are 30. And a lot of it would have to do with knowledge. Knowledge beyond the classroom. Knowledge beyond the academics. Knowledge beyond what you see common to you. If you don't do that, when you cross 30 and you get to your 40s, very few people will ever be able to change their narratives. They will leave the profession. They will leave the career that is common to them. You know, and we don't want a lot of people to just live the social script. We want a lot of people to dare and to dream and to think big, because we want a lot of people to help our continent to become successful. But one thing that I have seen is that most people who happen to have the advantage of going to school, they don't invest in themselves. A lot of them, or a lot of us, believe that once we enter the university, that is the best thing that happened to us. That is not so much correct, because after 30, everything that you put in yourself will start to show. Will start to show after 30. Everything. And so if you ever had somebody to tell you that before 30, that is the time to build yourself. That is the time. You know, most of these guys who play football, most of them, by 20, they have invested so much time into their career that they start to shine. Most of these bosses, that's the time that they practice so much. When everybody is sleeping, that's the time that they are practicing. When everybody is jumping and watching football, that's the time that they are training. So the superstars in this life, 20, majority of them would have at least identified most of the things that they were going to do. Now, those of us who happen not to have identified those kind of, quick talent like football, the sportsmen or entertainment, and those of us who happen to go through school, majority of us just move through life without investing in the very thing that we just have to invest in. Because if you happen to go to school, the only thing that you have to invest in will be knowledge, and much of it will be knowledge as to what you want to do with your life and where you can shine, where you can become an expert. If you don't decide that before 30, majority of us will then start to chase the free money career. The free money career, you know them. The things that they spend money that they never worked for. I'm not going to mention them, but you know them. It's because most of them couldn't identify what they had to do, and they didn't invest so much in themselves. So a lot of us will not really be different from the investment that we do before we are 30. If you don't focus on building yourself and you cross the 30 mark, the next 30 will not be that much different. Will not be that much different, because life will throw a lot of things at you, and your understanding, your persuasion, your skill, your expertise, the things that you have put in you will be the ones that will be able to establish you in the 30 after the first 30. So if you didn't have anybody guiding you, if you didn't have anybody directing you, it becomes tough. But life has become a bit more easy easier if you happen to love books. You can get a lot of directions from it. Just investing yourself in books. Investing yourself in books. And the passion that you have. What is it that you have identified to do with your life? You should be able to identify it before you're 30. You should. Very few people, the percentages are against those who happen to just joke, and then after 30, they want to find something to do. No, the percentages are not good. So the more, I think that by the time that you are through with the SHS, you should be at least a little bit sure of what you want to do with your life. It should not be the one that everybody is telling you, like the way the parents will tell you, become a doctor, lawyer, those things. Those are just the normal things. The ones that which are, the ones which is in your heart, the ones that you have talent for. Because most of us the courses that we even did in the secondary school, they were chosen for us. Your father thought that you were good with mathematics, so he said that go and do engineering. Or your mother thought that you're good with biology, so become a doctor. Those were things that were chosen for you. That's why most people never live their lives, because a lot of the things that they happen to have done, or the courses and the professions that they happen to have chosen, when not much considerations were given to the kind of talent, the kind of aspirations, the kind of desires that they wanted to do with their lives. A lot of them were just chosen for you because you happen to be a bright student or not so bright student. So most people just happen to be average. It doesn't matter. They can become professor, but they are average in that field. Why? Because the foundation, they didn't choose it, or the information that was needed that was placing in the choice of the foundation was wrong. And so you can become a doctor and you just happen to be average doctor. You can become a teacher and just having to drag yourself to go and teach. Why? Because it's not something that you so much desired. One of the things that you just be average is because you did not personally invest in your own self. Invest in knowledge. Invest so much in knowledge. Identify yourself. Read things that will help you to identify your own passion, your own aspirations, the things that you want to do with your life, the mark that you want to leave on this earth. Before you go, you should be able to read so much and build so much content that you'll be able to identify the talents that you have. Going to school and choosing that course that they chose for you is so much different from what you should be in this life. They are not the same. And that's why most people who live the life that, your father chose engineering for you. So you didn't even understand engineering, then they chose it for you. Not even the engineering they chose for you, you didn't even know it before they chose it for you. So a lot of us are coming from that kind of background. A lot of us, especially those in my age, are coming from that kind of background. So things were just chosen for us without us having much information to do the choosing. And so you are at a stage in your life that you just average. Why you could not change that is because when you were in school, even though something was chosen for you that maybe the knowledge was not that much, you should have spent a lot of time to develop yourself. Your understanding of life, to develop your character, your aspiration, your work ethics. You should have studied a lot about finance, about, even your country, and sometimes even about God. I'm saying that because most people, by the time that they are getting out of school, especially the Africans, the first degree or the polytechnic or the teaching, the first thing that they are thinking of, majority of us, especially those who are coming from families where, your family are not those popular and rich. Majority of us, we just want to be successful. And so the only option for us is to just look for some kind of visa and move out of the country. You made that decision without much information. Just a choice from the social script that you had. Just a choice from the things that you had. So you chose that, yes. But after 30 years, you see that that decision was uninformed because they didn't invest much in yourself. Because the quality of decisions that we all make will depend on the kind of investment that we have placed in ourselves. Your choice that you're making. Choices are just, they are just coming out of the content that you have, the information that you have, the data that you have, the kind of things that you have put in yourself are deciding the decisions that you're making. It's not so much that somebody was so much smart and they happen to have made the right decision. No, it's just because they happen to have put a lot. They happen to have invested much in themselves. So when the time came for them to make the right decision, they chose it. And it happened to be the right one. But most of us, we just happen to go through the school, write the exam, pass. Most people, all through the 4 years in the university, never pick one book to read, whether it's on life, whether it's on talent, whether it's on character, whether it's on finance, whether it's on marriage, whether it's on God, whether it's on country, innovation, product, entrepreneurship, something that would have inspired a desire in you to be great. Most people never do that. Most people, even after school, that they are working, they become so much tired after work that they never read anything. They never research anything. If you see them read anything, it's because somebody else is saying that read, come and write exam, I'll give you a certificate. That's why they do it. Other than that, a lot of us were not taught to invest that much in ourselves. A lot of us will never even go for training anywhere. If you see them going for training, it's because he works in an insurance company and the company is saying that go for 2 weeks training or 1 day training, and they go. But it's not their own desire to pick books, spend maybe every month you spend 200 Ghana cedis going to the library, going to the bookshop to buy books that you are reading yourself, to build yourself beyond the kind of courses that you read. Or when you are in school, the loan that they give you, or the money that your parents or whoever is taking care of you give you, that money, a certain percentage should be buying book, at least one book a month, on topics beyond the engineering, on topics beyond the marketing, on topics beyond the psychology that they are teaching you in school, the history. If you don't do those things and you finish school, you'll be so light that anything else can push you around. Anybody brings out any information and you just follow that because you did not build your own self. The kind of environment that we are coming from and the kind of information that we are hearing from the culture, from the church, from the radio, from the TV, you cannot face life and beat it that much with this kind of information. Not at the pace that you want to enjoy life. So you have to invest in yourself. And the thing about it is that if you put two people, one finished university, never read anything all through the 4 years. Yes, you became enlightened when you started reading. And the other one didn't finish in university. He just finished SSS. He was confused. If that guy, for the 4 years that you were in the university, if that guy happened to read, let's say, 4 books a month, over the 4 years, he may not read any technical course, just general life things that will inspire him to pursue something. Let's say four books a month. So let's say on the average, you read about 48 books. So for the 4 years, let's say it's 50 books a year. You would have read at least 200 books for 4 years. If that guy reads those books consistently, he'll beat you. He'll beat you. If he decides to invest in himself, read about finance, read about his vision, his business that he's going to do, anything that he's studying, and that man continues to read, there will so much difference. There will be so much difference between the one with a degree who never read anything, just happened to read to write exam for the 4 years. Because the thing is that the 4 year education that you are there for, 4 years, you could have done that course within a year if they compressed them. So 3 years that you spend in some of these schools, you just waste them. Sometimes a whole week you don't even go for any lecture. And the guy was constantly, the other guy who didn't have the chance to go to university, was constantly reading 4 or 5 books a month with the intention that I want to become better. Training, going for seminars. There will not be any closeness between you and that man, because you would build so much energy, so much strength, so much content that whatever you give to him to do, he will do it. One of the major things that we find we struggle with is people who have finished universities, who have done masters, MBAs. When you are dealing with them, when they are managing anything, I dare you, just see how they manage things. If you happen to have a business and you put one of these guys there, they work according to their time. They don't work with a sense of urgency. They don't work to get results. They work to get paid. If you send them email, they pay you. They send you a reply when they want to. And you dare not challenge them, they'll flip. Why? It's because the only content that they had is the one from Clash. So they cannot deliver. If you dare them, They will leave the job because they can't be challenged. The difference between life is not so much what they taught you in school. It's the one that you decided to put in yourself. So before you turn 30, if you happen not to be 30, decide to invest a lot in yourself. Invest. And the top of the investment is the knowledge. Read books. Go for seminars. Train yourself. Read articles. Build yourself. Get the data that can build the character, the aspirations, the work ethics, the information. As a matter of fact, the kind of information that they give us cannot build any strong marriage. So if you want to build a strong marriage, a happy one, you may have to get at least 20 books read on that. If you want to change your finances, the kind of information that is in the air, the one that they gave you in school, cannot. You should read at least 20 books on that. If you want to have a character that at least will be better than the average person, where you'll be able to say that I'm not going to steal somebody's money, I'm not going to lie to somebody, I'm just going to stay with the process and become better. If you don't read a lot of books on that, no matter what you say, when they show you big money, you will compromise because the content will not be there to support you. Your passion, your talent, your commitment to training and going through the process. You could only go on making those choices and decisions because you put the content in yourself. And the best form of investment is not the one you're putting in the bank, even though that is important. The best form of investment is the one that you do to yourself, the one that you put in yourself. And so work on them. And if you're 30, there's nothing like that. You're still young, you still have energy. But the problem is that most of these guys that are 30, they're so much infatuated with their own ignorance that it's so difficult for you to get to them to shift their mind to study. It's so difficult, especially those who did the philosophy from Legon. So difficult for you to encourage them that build your life. Study. Get information. The content they gave you in Legon cannot help you to become anything. The content they gave you from Kwabena University cannot help you to become anything. You will just be average. You will just be average. Even if they promote you to become a president, you just be an average president. If you become a doctor, you just be an average doctor. If you become a teacher, you just be an average. You will not be the top. Because become the top, to get to the top and deliver and keep going with all the the turbulence that will come, is because you built something beyond the classroom. So if you build a business, the only way that you'll be able to keep going and keep yourself and keep going is because you put a lot of content in yourself. And that content could not come from classroom. It will come from your own plan to develop yourself and put something. And I think that if you're 30 now, at least by this time you should have read not less than 50 books on all topics. You should have. And when we come to your personal library, we should be having those. It doesn't matter where the books are coming from. At least it will help you to think a little. And so when we come to your room, we should not just be seeing just course books. You fail in life. You write courses to get certificate that they gave you, which you can't do any much with it. A lot of people have certificate, they have position, but they sack them. Because that which gets you perform and the position that you have is the content that you have put in yourself. The content that you have put in yourself. So develop yourself. Yes, the philosophy. Kevin, yes, the philosophy. Yes, you debate a lot, you talk a lot, you are the ones on radio giving us a lot of information, but much of it we can use. Right? So you have to. I'm 23, I'm lucky to have power and knowledge at this age. Yes, please read. Read. Don't be deceived. After all, the structure of the university education in Africa is not the one that you can achieve a lot with. That's the fact. So don't believe so much in it. Just get conscious that I have to buy books. I have to. I remember there was a time I was reading about 5 books every month. In between, there was a lot. I was reading a lot. I think national service, latter part of national service. So national service, that time, I was reading so much. didn't even know what to do, but I was just reading. I was just reading about leadership. I was reading about business. I was reading about finance. Did I have money? No money. Did I have anything? No. I just was reading. Confused? Yes, but was reading. Because I didn't know what to do with the engineering that they gave us. What was the industry? No industry to employ you. Most of our engineers are just working as sales engineers, with tractor equipment, those kind of things. That's not what I wanted to do. But you could not do otherwise if you didn't decide to read a lot, because it will catch up with you. When you get to the 40s, when you get to the 50s, you will not be able to maneuver and live the life that you so desire on your own terms, unless you invested in yourself. Even if you have a good job, it doesn't matter, because the job, sometimes they can fire you. And if they fire you, you still have to live life on your terms. And that will mean you have to fall on the things that you put in yourself. So it's so dangerous to live every week, every month without reading anything consciously. All the things that you read are daily graphic and daily guide. You cannot live life with that kind of investment. Never. And don't tell me that you read your Bible, because read is good, but we are talking of things that will help you to live life on your own terms. And a lot of it are books. So if you happen to be lucky, at least to have the ability to read and understand, and you are less than 30, this is the time. You should be reading 5 books, 10 books, 20 books every month. Cut a lot of things. When you're after 30, you still have to read, but at least the things that you put in yourself, because within 30 or before 30, that's the time that you're going to make a lot of critical choices. Career, family, where to live, all those, you are going to make them. Most people will make those things, those decisions, those critical decisions just around that time. And that is the time that they don't have a lot of data. I don't know why they made life that way, but that is the time that a lot of us don't have data. And so we are going to make all these decisions which we are going to live with after 30 years. And yet we make these decisions when we have nothing in terms of information. And most of us are not coming from families where the father will sit you and advise you, or the mother will sit you and advise you. Majority of us, they have that kind of opportunity. So they will just tell you, because who's your idea? That's all. And that's the advice that they can give you. So get to books, get to videos, get to the things that will train you and build the kind of thinking that you can win life with. Because if you trust so much in those courses that you went to do at Legon, at UCC, at all these private universities that have come up, you'll be so light. You can't fight life. You'll be so light. You meet a lot of these guys, they're so light. So light. You talk to them, you engage their mind, you can see they are so light. They are so simple-minded, because they did not commit to reading. They did not build themselves. And so it will be your choice where you will live, or the choice you make. It will be because somebody told you, not because you really sat down to plan. Because what did you plan with? You finished SHS around 15. They sent you. They said I went to school. I went to university or something around 19 or something. What content did you use to choose the course that you chose? What did you use? Did they tell you that, this course is very nice, and when you finish you get a job, that's why you chose? Or because you knew what you were going to do, that's why you chose that course? Or your father was a lawyer, so they told you to become a lawyer? Or your uncle was a politician, so they told you to go and study political science so that you become a politician? Live life according to your own terms, and that can only happen when you consciously develop in yourself, invest in yourself. And there is no better investment than the information, the knowledge that you put in yourself. And that is your own choice. Nobody else. Because after a while, when you continue to put the knowledge in yourself, after a while, the cup will be full to explode. The knowledge will concentrate. You have refined knowledge. Said that sometimes the decisions that you make and the things that you talk about, you will never have met the great minds, but you will talk just like them. You may never have met them anywhere, But when they say something somewhere, you will be the one who may have said it in your room, and you even think that you would even think that they heard you say it. Why? It's because it's a level, it's a stage of knowledge concentration, of the expertise that you build for yourself. And so concentrate on building yourself. Concentrate. Build a skill. What expertise can you build? Is it a computer programming? Is it engineering? What is it that you're going to be? Because a lot of it will happen within the first 30 years. What profession do you want to build? What character do you want to build? And don't forget to study so much and learn so much about money, how it's worked for, how it's saved, how it is grown. Because you will need a lot of it for you to achieve the things that you want to achieve. And those are the critical skills that you should have had before you turn 31. Before you turn 31. Somebody should have told you that these things are critical and they are much more important. The woman or the man that you will marry, what informed that? If you made the wrong choice, the divorce will happen after the next 30 years, I tell you. So, the friends that you make, what did you choose the friends that you make? What did you use to choose that? What data, what information that you use? Because it will affect the kind of life that you live. But if you don't have the right focus with your life, and you don't know where you're going, anybody can become your friend, because you don't know where you're going. The moment you decide where you're going, and the moment you decide how to use your most important resource, which is time, you will know who to become your friend, and you will know who not to become your friend. And so if you are in college and you don't read, a lot of, when we were in school, I was amazed that people would just have time for everything. And when you hold book, you just look at the book and laugh at you. I remember one of my friends who was reading medicine, he would just always say me and said, but you're always reading something about money or business or something. I said, yes, I'm trying to find out what is there. But he was so much involved in reading pharmacology and physiology and human biology. Those were good, but they were only for the exam. For you to become a very successful doctor, you will need more data than what they taught you in school. Beyond the medicine. Beyond the medicine. So your information that you use to choose whichever friends that you choose, because they can put you in detour if you don't know where you're going. A lot of the things that happen in your life, the bad things, will come from the kind of friends that you choose. So if you didn't have the right kind of information to choose whoever becomes your friend, you waste your life. So by the time that you see you are 32 and you have nothing to show, and you have certificate and nobody wants to employ you, and you don't know what to do with it. One of the reasons for unemployment, graduate unemployment, that they talk so much about is because people have not become resourceful themselves. If you're in school and you put a lot of things, you invest your time, you invest your resources in yourself, you build yourself. When you finish school, you will never be waiting for the president to form an organization to get you a job. No, that will not be what you'll be waiting for, because you'll be so much pumped up and confident in your ability to try something and even dare to fail if you need be and keep going. But you can't do that if you don't have the content, if you have not built yourself. It becomes so difficult. And you live life only according to the investment that you have put in yourself. It's not, you cannot live your life according to the investment that I've put in myself, and I cannot live life based on the investment that you have put in yourself. No. I live life according to my terms, and you live life according to your terms. The things that I've put in myself, the treasure, the things that I've become, those are the things that I'm making choices and decisions of. So you all those unemployment and everything is because when you happen to be in those school, the first year, you were so much scared not to be rusticated or something like that. The big English that you were afraid not to be sent from the school, so you were only concentrating on the course content. You never you never read any book at all on self-development, on finance, on management, on goals, on becoming better with yourself, on knowing what to do with yourself, building your talent, leadership. Those things you didn't, because you thought. I remember there was a friend who said that, but why should I read a book? Because people put their mind in book, So why should I read their mind? He didn't know that the chemistry that he was reading, somebody else's inspiration that they put in book. But he believed that. He didn't want to believe the other one. And so when he finished school, he was chasing job. And the other time I met him, he has a big position, but he feels like, no, I've wasted my time. Because you cannot live life fulfilled without the right investment in yourself. Okay, the life that you live, the freedom that you live, whether you're employed or you have your business, you will live life according to your terms and according to your happiness and joy and freedom, because you have put a lot of data in yourself. So you live your life fulfilled. But if you didn't put anything in yourself, you live life out of pain and out of frustration. And it doesn't matter what pay they give you. It doesn't matter what position they give you. I've met a lot of people. I've met a lot of friends who have all the positions that you so much desire, but who's still very much frustrated. And the frustration is coming from the fact that the time that they should have developed themselves and their philosophy and their convictions and their knowledge and their mindset for life and greatness, they didn't. They didn't. They wasted it. So if you're before 30, this is the time. Read books, watch videos that will build you up. Train, start something to do something, practice something, become great at something. Because everything that you put in yourself, nobody else can take it from you. Nobody else. So when you hear the young people doing anything, sometimes they mention, oh, some young people have done something, somebody has built Facebook. What you don't know is that guy started investing in himself from a very young age. Okay, probably from 5, he started playing with computer. So when he was 20, he had invested at least 50 years in himself. He was reading books, learning languages, learning how to code. And you are 25. Not one book you have read, not one skill that you have. You can't play the keyboard, you can't play the guitar, you can't use the computer. You don't know how to talk. There's nothing that you're focused on your life. Just the book. You said, I finished Lego, I read philosophy. You can't do nothing with philosophy if you don't know. Not that much. Okay, so you just live the average life. So commit yourself to something. If you are less than 30. Now, if you're beyond 30, you can still compress time. So if those who are below 30 are reading 1 book a month, you may have to read about 4 books, 6 books, 7 books, and read and consciously go to bookshops or go to your phone. You know, a lot of people have card now. Amazon, go there, buy books. You can't spend $50 every month or $10 every month buying 2 books to read. What else can you do with your life? Because if you didn't catch up early, it means that there's a lot that you have to do. When you see people doing something, it's because they are in their secret place. They have invested a lot in themselves. They have read a lot. They have built a lot. They have done a lot. They have changed a lot of philosophy. Now you talk, you agree with everybody. A lot of people just talk and everything that they know is what everybody else knows. If everything you know is what everybody else knows, what makes you think that you achieve what everybody else has not achieved? It will never happen. So when they talk, the only source of information is when you listen to Kwabena and Marie on Peace FM. You don't need those kind of information. What do you need them for? Are you a politician? You're not a politician. You are not following politics. Even if you're a politician, you have to have better strategy than just listening to those guys. Okay? It's just for entertainment. When I was little, Kweku Sejado was doing all these programs every time. If you listen to them or you don't listen to them, you don't gain anything. You know, the things that will develop you are not political shows. It's not even the football. It's not even the football. If you put those things in you, you will just live the average life. You will never dare, because you will not have the muscle to dare anything. If you don't have the content, you will never be courageous. You will never have character. You will never be able to withstand opposition. You'll be afraid. You can't challenge anything because you have not put any information in yourself. You have not built the mindset. You have not read. You have not developed yourself. And yet that is the time to develop yourself. So when everybody is jumping and dancing everywhere, but you're doing things to build your mind, doing things to build yourself. That is how you become different. Because I know, or I believe that there's a lot that we don't know, and we've not been taught as Africans, because the knowledge is still at the primary stage. The very few people who think they have knowledge, they just fall on school knowledge. And school knowledge, you can't do much with it. Okay, you can only get a job, which you may not even be happy with. That's why a lot of people job, and they are always complaining, talking. The complaining is coming from the fact that you have refused to invest in yourself. If you see anybody complaining and murmuring and talking and saying that life is difficult, pressure everywhere, it's because they have refused to put strength in themselves. The moment you develop yourself, you will stop complaining. You stop blaming somebody. You stop even waiting for somebody. You will stop waiting for help. You would want to create your own force, because that force that wells out of you is the content that you have put in yourself, So when everybody is saying that there's nothing, you look and you say that, no, but I can do something. Where I am, I can do something for myself. Why? Because you put that content in yourself. But if people didn't put anything and they just gave you the book knowledge, you will never do anything, because you cannot be controversial. You cannot disagree with anybody. You have to agree with everybody. You cannot even innovate. You can't, because you can see. You have eyes, but you can't see, because you didn't put the content in yourself. So read books. Buy books and read. You can change your life. Buy books and read. Buy books and buy the topics that can build the future that you want. Buy the topics and build the future that you want. Don't just feed on entertainment all the time and think that you are building content that can withstand life. Because after 30, so build your content, develop yourself, buy books, go and read something, study, get a video. There's a lot of data on YouTube now, lot of data. How to build a business, how to build this, how to build that, how to build a car, how to build any product. Just Google. There's a lot of data in our time. Even if you want to learn how to build a restaurant, there are a lot of data there. You can customize them. But build your content. If you don't build your content, nothing else will secure your future more than that. Nothing else will secure your future more than that. Because you live your life according to the decisions that you're making. And the decisions that you're making, they are coming from the content that you have put in yourself. The decisions that I'm making, they are coming from the content that I've put in myself. The ability to withstand any difficulty is coming from the philosophy that I've built for myself over this world. Don't tell me that is the prayer. It's not the prayer. It's the wisdom that you express. And that wisdom will not just happen because you just finished school. It will happen because you have put something in yourself. So read, study. And I'm not saying, because most people, when they say they read, they say, oh, I read my devotion and I read one chapter of the Bible. That's not what I'm talking of. I'm talking of books that will change you. Read history, read technology, read finance, read character, read things that will build you uncommon to what you grew up with. Africa is not able to do much because we have little content. Nobody has cursed us. No, it's because we don't have that much content, and we don't hear a lot of content coming from people who have done it. Okay, so it's not that. No, prayer will not change you. It's not prayer. You can't build business just by praying. You can't build and don't go and look for anointing water or anointing oil. Build yourself. Study. Build your mind. Read books. If you happen to be in first year in the university, when you go for the lectures, yes, decide to get the first class. No problem with that. It's good. You will show it to your parents. But every week, finish one book. Spend more on books than any other thing. To separate you from everybody else. To build your character, to build your strength. You will innovate, you will think. All the great minds around the world, all of them, the only thing that separates them from everybody is the mind that they have. And the mind that they have now and how they process data, it's not because they were born with it. They were not born with anything. They just put them there. And they didn't read the Bible to put them there. I'm telling you, they read a lot. They studied a lot. They read. But the Africans are looking for magic. Don't look for magic. If it happens, praise the Lord. But build yourself. Read books continuously. Read books. And if you're 30 or below, there's no better chance than that when you start to develop your mind beyond the academics. Okay? Because if you pick professors, they are different. If you pick any doctor, they are different. There are those who are below, there are those who are average, and those who are superb. Those who are at the top level, they studied more than just the doctor that they learn. Okay? If you go to any school and you see the best of teachers, it's because they study more than just the teaching. Okay? They read a lot. They study human character. They read. If you want to prosper, it's data. Data. Truth and right. Thanks for your innovation, and important is to read and read with understanding. Nothing is easy. Study. It's true. Because people think that the only thing that will separate you from me, the only thing that I think separates me from my classmates will be the fact that I spent a lot of time reading books, building my mind, and studying, even if I didn't understand it. And it was beyond the engineering that I read. No, just engineering. No. Engineering is somewhere. What are you going to do with engineering if you don't know? If you produce any product and you don't understand the market and you don't know how to put people together and handle the finance, how can you produce any product? You can't do it. So that which makes success is so much different from just the engineering principles that they taught us or the marketing principles that they told you. There is a connection between the academics and the reality, and that one is the self-development. You know, the things that you have put in yourself. So don't sacrifice your future and fill your life with entertainment. If you're doing business and it's so difficult, it's because you have neglected knowledge, self-improvement, content development. You have neglected it. And so when the problems came, you could not withstand it. I was telling somebody the other time that the best form of anything is when you try to do things rightly. You know, so you use integrity, honesty to build things. But the fact that you're honest does not mean that you're going to succeed. And so your friend is cheating his way through life. And so he's done all those. Now you say that you are not going to cheat. The fact that you are not going to cheat does not mean you are going to succeed. Your friend, because he's compromised a lot of things, obviously he will fail until you correct his ways. But you, if you don't go for double knowledge, if your friend is reading 1 book a day, you have to read 20 books because you don't want to cut corners. So you have to explode. That's why you're going to win. You know? But if you just say that I'm not cheating anybody, I'm not lying anybody, so God will take care of me, that's a lie. There are a lot of honest people who are broke and struggling all their lives. Okay? Because the fact that you're not stealing does not mean that you're able to build anything. So build yourself, build the content, steady. There's nothing that can replace that. Self-improvement, self-investment, there's nothing that can improve that. And the African graduates must understand that. The African young people must understand that if you have the finest opportunity to develop yourself, to build yourself, and don't blame anybody. Don't look up to your parents. They have lived their life. If they give you something, fantastic. If they don't give you anything, manage the only resource that you have, which is time. And most of us, my passion really is for people who are coming from background where they didn't have anybody guiding them. They didn't have anybody talking to them. They just pushed their way through. They fought their own through, and they are somewhere. You will stop going forward because the fuel is the knowledge, is the wisdom, is the understanding that you have put in yourself. That's the fuel. You will give up when the fuel is finished. Okay? When the car is going and the fuel is gone, the car will pack. That fuel is the knowledge. So put in yourself, study time, read about money, read about our country. Most people just move out of our country and go to look at all these countries because of the content. It's not because here is harsh. No, it's because of what they are using to make the decision. Because they watch too much TV, they saw America, they thought that if they get to America, they will be prosperous. That's a lie. Okay, that's a lie. You get car, nice, yes. You get mortgage, yes. But that's all. You will not be the billionaires. If you want to create the billions and the millions, it will be self-investment. Okay, it will be self-investment. So if you do the same investment anywhere you are, you succeed. It may take some time based on the kind of environment that you're in, but you by all means succeed because you put the investment in yourself. And that is the strength that overcomes or the external forces that comes against you. You know, the disagreement, the failures, the mistakes. Oh, yes, read. Barbara, read. Yes, read. If you read about it, there's nothing. Read about the business, read about the product, read about the people, read about the finances. Study constantly. And if somebody is organizing a seminar somewhere, go some. If there are videos on YouTube, watch them. There are videos on WhatsApp, whatever, watch them. Constantly open your mind, because that's the only thing that is going to build you up. But most people don't read anything. Even the young people, all their lives, never. They just say, I'm tired, and they go and sleep. Tired, tired. And before you see it, you're 40 and you have no content. And then you will become frustrated. And then you're blaming everybody. You can't blame anybody, because you had time to read, study, build yourself. You didn't. You thought that your school was enough. Your school is never enough. It's just about 2% of what you need to succeed. To achieve anything extravagant or extraordinary, it can take university education. No matter whether it's master's degree or PhD, whatever, it cannot replace your ability to build yourself and read and form your own philosophies and build your own life according to your own terms. Nothing can replace that. Nothing can replace that. So if you don't read and you so much believe in your little knowledge that they told you, nobody was born with any knowledge. Nobody was born with any wisdom. Nobody was born with any understanding. We just gathered them from environment. And so if all your choices are just being made out of the environment, content they gave you, you think that you're going to achieve anything extra. That's why whenever you listen to the radio, whether they're speaking Chi or they're speaking English, just interpret them. The content is the same, because they didn't put a lot of things in themselves. So they say the same thing. All of them are saying the same thing. That's why we find it difficult to apply, because it's the same content. But once you start to read beyond what you're hearing, dig deep, go further, extract more revelation. It comes to a point you see that you become, the ideas will come out of you. You are able to see situations and interpret them well, because you have put a lot of content in yourself. So don't play with it at all. If you're less than 30, you are from this continent, don't believe so much in the school. Go some. It's good. It gives you some kind of confidence and courage. But the same thing can deflate you unless you fill the gap. And that gap is, I dare say, no matter what you're reading in school, separate time. Read about 5 books every month. Go and buy them. And I'm not talking about just engineering books, no. I'm talking about things that you will need in life. Okay, things that will help you to succeed. Read, build yourself. Read about how you can apply your vision, your dream. What is it that you want to do with your life? What skill do you need to achieve that dream? Whatever you want to do, what skill do you need? You by all means work with people. You by all means work with systems. You by all means work with finance. How much do you know about these things? How much have you read about them? How much have you practiced? How much? You have to study them. Build them yourself. Don't deceive yourself. In this life, the way you process information and make decisions is how you're going to succeed in this life. In this life. And when it comes to finances, if you don't cross that mark of poor mindset, okay, because a lot of people, they seem like they have money, but they are poor in terms of the way they look at life. Okay, because money is everything to them. And a lot of people also let money stop them from daring and following their dream. Why? Because the content, they didn't put it there. If you develop the content, you'll see that even though money is important, it cannot stop you from pursuing your dream. If you read, if you study, there are a lot of information out there. If you find yourself complaining, talking, frustrated, it's because you didn't put any content in yourself. You just talk like anybody else. The only difference between you and the guy who didn't go to school is the English that you're speaking. But when you break them down, it's the same. There's no revelation that you are bringing anywhere. Because you don't study. You don't commit to study. You don't commit to reading. Read. Read books. And if you found if you found any organization, any business, invest more in knowledge than any other thing. More in knowledge than any other thing. Because that's the only way you'll be able to build anything out of hard work, out of honesty, and out of intelligence. The reason most people cheat and lie in a kind of a environment is because there was no content in them. School, yes. Certificates, yes. But that's no content. For you to have character and withstand temptation and develop yourself and believe in people and value people, life, and pursue your dream. These things, with a lot of effort, with character, with intelligence, it will come from the fact that you spend time to develop yourself. Or they will put you at that organization and you sign all the wrong checks, you compromise on your values, you cut all the corners on the contract because you want to achieve something that your content cannot produce. Okay, the only reason that the guy is changing the contract is because he wants money that he can have if he has to go by his content. So he has to compromise on his character. He has to cheat the country because he didn't spend time building himself. So he's not patient enough to apply. He's not confident. You know, if you see any minister stealing, it's because he doesn't believe that without stealing he can get anything. You know, because he's not confident in himself. Why is not confident? Because he didn't put anything in himself. If you are confident, you don't need anybody's money. You don't need the country's money. You don't need anybody. You don't need to steal anybody's money because you're confident that whatever you have, you can do something with it. But you can only have that kind of conviction when you have spent a lot of time building yourself, investing in yourself, improving your thoughts, improving your philosophy, improving your understanding, improving your wisdom. And you can only overcome a lot of difficulties in this life when you have built strong content, strong investment in yourself. So once when there's a problem there, yes, the problem is there, but it doesn't scare you. Why? Because the way you talk within is different from the other guy who has not put anything himself. From the other guy who has not put anything himself. Okay, so you're not waiting for God to help you. You're not waiting for another man to come and pray for you so that every problem will go. The problems are there, but they don't decide what you become. A lot of people are not able to separate the problems from their person. A lot of people are not able to separate their mistakes from their potential because they did not build the content. So they try something and somebody says that, but you try it and you fail, they give up again. Because the only narrative that they have on themselves is the mistakes that they committed. Your mistakes get your attention and get you occupied because you have not developed yourself. Because if you know that you're going to achieve anything, there will be mistakes, there will be errors, there will be losses, there will be pain. But those should not stop you. They only stop you because you refuse to upgrade yourself. You refuse to upgrade yourself. You work a little, you're tired because you refuse to upgrade yourself. They put you in charge of anything, you start to compromise a lot of things because you didn't develop yourself. You didn't read. And so when you are 30 or less, my advice will be go and get books, watch videos, build the things that can change the future that you want. If you don't do that, in the next 30 years, you'll be an average person. And you compromise on a lot of things. You compromise on your character, and you will not be a very vibrant and happy person. Because that you didn't put in. Because the foundation you didn't build. The foundation you didn't build. So my name is Kwabena. I am wrapping up, and I have talked about before 30. Before you are 30, invest heavily in yourself. And I'm not saying just go to school. School is important. But that which will separate you from everybody else you had in classroom would be the readings that you have done, the books that you have read. Those are the difference. If you read a lot about finance, read a lot about your dreams, read a lot about people, read a lot about management, read a lot about goal setting, read a lot. What is it that you set for yourself? Get the books. If you can read 5 books a month, give yourself 2 years. You see the kind of person that you can become. be a whole different person. But if you're that kind of person who is always frustrated, not happy with your life, you have reduced your dream, it's because you have refused to put that content in yourself. And it's not the challenges of life that are worrying you. No, the content is far more bigger than the challenges of life. The content. And so the best time that you have, especially when you're less than 30, is when you're in the college, when everybody else is dancing. Read a lot of books. Go and get your first class if you have to. But they will not be responsible for the kind of life that you live. They will not be responsible for your character. They will not be responsible for your work ethics. They will not be responsible for the level of intelligence that you express in the work that you do for a living. Those differences will come, because you read more than what they taught you in school. Okay, so your passion, your talent, your ethics, your aspirations, even the family, the quality of family that you're able to put out and put together, the peace of it, the prosperity of it, is coming from the fact that you spent extra time to read quality books on how to build a family. Most people never have one book all their lives. They have never read one book. They're 50, never one book. They never finished one book that was meant for life, not the exam. Not talking of exam. Exam is nothing. One book that they could. So all the information that they have is the information that everybody else has. So how are you going to be different? Cannot be different. You'll be a weak man. You'll be a weak woman. You'll be sad. Any little thing will get your attention. Any little thing, you become sad because you have not built the inner strength. The inner strength. So you have an advantage if age is on your side. If you are from 20 to 30, that's the best time to commit to reading. And if you can do 50 books a year for the next from 20 to 30, you would have done at least 500 books. And that will be a great effort. And there's a lot that books can channel. I was told the other time that Kufad, when he was very young, he read so many books. No wonder he was able to withstand all this pressure to become his dream. You know, the other guys who didn't read anything, when they challenged them, they gave up because there was no content. So study, invest in knowledge, invest in skill acquisition. Invest your time in something, then you will become that person. And nothing. If you invest that time, anything that you invest in yourself, nobody can take it from you. Nobody. Until you are gone, nobody can take that one from you. Whatever that I know, they are with me. Nobody can take that from me. So all the books that you happen to read them. Anything that bothers you, there are a lot of books there. Read them. Africans must know that the difference is in the content, the investment that we have done in ourselves. It's not so much the frustration, no? It's the content. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for watching.